Good morning, gang. Happy Sunday morning, if you're still alive. Here we are, Memorial Day weekend, 3 days off for everybody, and, let the fun begin, right? Unless, of course, you live in Chicago or Detroit or DC, I don't know, St. Louis, Philadelphia. This weekend is the first weekend of the new mayor in Chicago, okay? And he rung in his new administration with a whopping 12 murders on the first night of the weekend of Memorial Day. This is insane. I'm going to give you a little fact. This one will probably blow your mind. We hear all this stuff about gun control. We've got to get guns off the streets and everything like that, stop people from killing each other. I'll agree with the last part. We got to stop people killing each other. Okay, might be a good idea. Anybody realize that the United States has the third highest murder rate in the world? Okay, that would be something where you go, damn, you know what? Maybe these gun control people are right. Maybe we do need to get the guns off the streets. Until you do a little digging, if you take out Chicago, Detroit, DC, St. Louis, and Philly, like I said, top, okay, take out those 5 cities, then the U.S. is 189th out of 193 countries in the world. What do all those cities have in common? Besides the fact they're all run by Democrats, they all have extremely strict gun control laws. Yeah, criminals don't bother following the law, guys. That's why they're criminals. I mean, if that fact doesn't blow your mind, that we are number 3 in the world because of 5 cities. I mean, I grew up, at least till I was in 8th grade, in Chicago. I moved back in the early 90s. Mid 90s. And I got out in the late 90s. Okay. I lived in the suburbs of Chicago. I grew up in the suburbs of Detroit. And back in the late 70s, early 80s, Detroit was a shithole then too. Okay. Now it's worse. Back when I was in Detroit, hey, you went to Pontiac to go see a Lions game, or you went to Tiger Stadium, which was on the outskirts of Detroit. Okay. For those of you that live in the area, or maybe even have heard of M&M, right? When I was in high school, we used to go to 8 Mile and Gratiot because we could buy booze there with a fake ID, right? Now, I wouldn't go to that area in the middle of the sunniest day with an armed escort with me. Just saying, okay? 8 Mile and Gratiot's basically at the outskirts of Detroit. Like 8 Mile, if I remember correctly, 8 Mile is the city limits, and the way Detroit runs streets is each mile going west is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, on down all the way until you get out near Pontiac. I've never lived in DC. I've never lived in St. Louis. Thank God I've never lived in Philly either. But that's what you've got going on in the world right now. Again, here it is. It's Memorial Day weekend, and we are remembering, like I was talking about yesterday, remembering soldiers that died for our freedoms, our Constitution, the Second Amendment, right? Okay. The fact that we would have those rights where a lot of other countries don't. Hell, look at Australia. Australia banned guns. Everybody had to turn them in. What happens? The government goes, cool, they can't stop us. Let's go completely far left. Look at New Zealand. They basically went socialist. Great Britain banned guns. What happens? The knife murders went through the roof. Criminals don't care, guys. Okay, this is it. And I look at all the humorous stuff that comes out that these whack jobs say about, I'm going to cut my AR-15 in half. And all you did was make it a sawed-off short barrel rifle when you did that, committing a felony there, Miss Congresswoman. Or the 50 caliber clip, or a bullet will blow your heart out. An AR-15 bullet will blow your heart out. Isn't it amazing that the people who write these laws, the people who are pushing these ideals, don't have a clue? You look at some of these former idiots. It's amazing how they come out of Illinois. Adam Kinzinger. Oh, poor me. I'm a Republican, but I'm basically a pro-communist. Joe Walsh, who's Joe Walsh of the one term, the 2 years that he served in Congress before everybody said, "Get your stinking fat ass out of here, you commie." Okay. I'm a Republican. I got a kick out of it on Twitter yesterday. It was like, oh, we need to honor our soldiers and all this sort of, put away the political divisiveness and everything like that. And I'm like, remind me about your military service there, Joe. Oh, that's right. You're a social worker by trade. No, did you serve? Hell no. Okay. But these are the people, a social worker is the one that's going to lecture us on how to use a weapon. Okay. Let's start talking to the people that are trained in weaponry on who should own them and who shouldn't. And you know what the people that are trained in, they tell you? Everybody should own them and everybody should get trained in them. Okay. That's what they'll tell you. Okay. That's what I'll tell you. Every single person in this freaking country should own self-protection devices. We'll leave it at that. But when I start hearing this about how dangerous the United States is, gee, I don't know. Let's take a look at New York City, where the hotels are full of illegals. Where story out yesterday of, I don't know, hotel staff finding 10-year-olds drunk. Okay. The hotels are completely trashed. Drugs, alcohol, sex, just going on all over the place. I mean, they're turning it into a bad brothel, and these are nice hotels that, before all this crap, we're going, what is it? I forget the name of the one, the Row, I think it was. It's in the theater district in New York. Those rooms went out for $500 a night. Nah, let's put a bunch of illegals in there so they can trash it. Hey, New York City, guess who gets to pay for that? You. AOC at her town hall late last week, getting screamed at and yelled at. I mean, they were throwing out more people that were screaming and yelling at her than she actually got to talk to. How the hell does she get elected? Well, I don't know. Might have the fact that 24% of the eligible voters in her district actually bothered to go to the polls. There's a problem. There's people who show up at town halls and bitch, but they won't go vote for somebody else. Right? This is the problem we face, guys. This world, this country has gone completely insane. I mean, just reading some of the stories yesterday that was going on in the world, guy burned his girlfriend. Okay, just poured gasoline on her and set her on fire. Hey, what the hell? But then you get all the stories, and the two-tier justice system, right? There's not a two-tier justice system. But the guy from the Oath Keepers got 18 years in prison. And some guy who killed I think she was 83 or 84-year-old pro-life woman, he got probation. Killed a woman and got probation. Telling you. Okay. Was it? How many of those murders in Chicago, those 12 murders from the other day, how many of those are going to be prosecuted? 0. Why? Because the cops don't even bother looking for the killers anymore. Because if they do, they'll take them in, and Kim Foxx, I think she's still the state's attorney there, will be, ROR, let him go, give him a ticket, tell him when to show up for court, and these gangs in Chicago probably have a wall where it's like, here's all our tickets, our court appearance dates, and everything like that. And they just, laugh at it. This is it, guys. Okay. If you don't want to get killed, arm yourself. There's a million people ahead of you that did that and fought for the country. They died because they believed in what that piece of paper, according to Barack Obama, stood for. What are you willing to stand for? What are you willing to die for? Are you willing to die for what Joe wants to turn this country into? No. But I'm willing to die to make sure that his evil plan never succeeds. Pinball out.